Welcome to Downtown Sports. My name is Downtown Stephen Brown, and in today's video, guys, this isn't necessarily something that I'm looking forward to talking about, just because it'll probably be out of date within the hour that it is posted, but also, I'm not a medical or political expert. I'm a journalism student. If you're looking for me to comment on things from those perspectives, that's not me. That's not what this video is going to be. All I can really do is share the relevant information that we have in front of us. And if I miss anything, or if there are conflicting sources that I don't show in the video, then hopefully we can continue that conversation and that discussion in the comments section civilly. As I'm recording this video right now on December the 19th at 9:30 p.m., just for a reference of what will be included and what will not be, Elliotte Friedman reporting 5 hours ago that he was hearing that the NHL and the NHLPA were considering a stoppage of cross-border travel for NHL games prior to Christmas, and they have implemented that. Elliotte Friedman, Saturday night on Hockey Night in Canada, did report that the NHL has discussed the possibility of just shutting down for the remainder of 2021 and just picking back up the season after the Winter Classic had been played early January 2022. And some people are for that, some people are against that, but the league may not have a choice to make in the matter. Teams like Calgary and Colorado and Florida and Boston and Nashville and Toronto have already been shut down basically through the Christmas break. And as Elliotte described it, the situation is changing basically on the hour, every hour. We don't know what the situation will be a week from now, and that's not to fearmonger or anything like that. What's going on? So the Leafs, who already had their games against the Flames on Thursday, the Canucks on Saturday, and the Seattle Kraken on Sunday, postponed, will also have their game against St. Louis on the 23rd, postponed as well. Elliotte Friedman also reporting that he's curious to see if an official announcement regarding the Olympics is made in the near future, just because with all of these postponements, it sounds like the NHL is going to need the 3 weeks or so that it would take to send its players to the Olympics to make up the games that to be made up. I won't assume anything. The furthest that I will go to comment on the situation is that the odds of them going don't look any better. The fact that the NHL has had an all-star game planned in their back pocket in Vegas for the beginning of February, which is right before they would send the players to go off to the Olympics, kind of tells you, in my mind, all you would really need to know about what the NHL thought the chances were that sending players to the Olympics were going to be a reality. Usually, maybe I'm wrong in remembering, but during Olympic years, they don't schedule an all-star game as well. It was announced on December the 18th that the NHL will be instituting enhanced protocols, and those will come into effect immediately, and they will run through the beginning of the new year, and the effectiveness of them will be evaluated after about a week or so. And if you're curious as to what the enhanced protocols are, I will leave a link to the 4-page document in the description of this video. It's very similar to what the protocols were last season, except there's no Canadian division. I know that if you're a fan of a Canadian team, you're already aware that some arenas, like in Ontario, are operating at 50% capacity. Montreal's already played a couple of games in front of no fans at all, but the biggest thing here is that they are moving to testing players daily instead of every third day. If you're an Ontario resident, maybe you're familiar with the situation on how rapid tests were being distributed throughout the province. First, they were going to be free and available at all LCBO locations, so our liquor store, and then they were not going to be available at the LCBO, and then they were being scalped for absorbent prices online. It's been sort of a mess. The thing to take away from this is that the NHL is a private business that operates in 2 different countries that has 2 different healthcare systems. I thought that this was an interesting exchange on Twitter from earlier in the week between Rachel Doerrie and Ian Mendes, where we've seen a lot of examples of players get pulled in the middle of their games because a test had come back positive. And Rachel goes on to say that other pro leagues use the Lucira PCR tests where results come in 15 minutes. Why wouldn't the NHL use those league-wide? Players test when they arrive before the game and get their results. The testing delays seem to be a huge issue, and also not testing on a daily basis and only every third day. But Ian goes on to say here that the Senators were using these during their outbreak last month. I don't know if there is a standard in the NHL at which test needs to be used, but I would imagine that the ones that come back in 15 minutes are a lot more expensive, and what you come to find out is that when people are just made suggestions, especially when it involves money, they often opt to not to spend the money if they're not forced to. So, doesn't look good. If there is one thing that I will openly just offer my opinion on, it's the situation between the Florida Panthers and the Colorado Avalanche, where one team is dealing with a number of positive tests and the other is as well, but one is given the option to play or not to, and the other isn't. If there's one thing that the NHL needs to do, whether you think that they should pause the season, cancel the season, postpone the games, go to the Olympics, not go to the Olympics, is that they just need to get on the same page. I understand that that's sort of difficult sometimes, and errors are bound to happen. But come on. I don't want to say that knowing the specific players who have been placed into COVID protocol is not important, but it's just not. They're players on your favorite team, and they're people first and foremost. Whether it's one player or the other should make it more meaningful. The fact that this happened when they were out on the West Coast means that it is a little bit more of a complicated situation in getting these guys home and still abiding by all of the protocols and the restrictions. But the main thing is that they get these guys home so that they can get to a point where they can rest up and recover and be comfortable and maybe spend some time with their families over the holidays if it permits. And as of the recording of this video, it was just announced that the Maple Leafs will be pausing all team activities through the Christmas break, so until December the 26th. I would imagine that that means practices, meetings, media availabilities. If they do take place, they'll probably be over Zoom. And that just means no hockey news or no games to talk about for a little while. And for some people, you got hundreds of other things to do throughout your day. It's not going to be that big of a deal. But for other people who are maybe not as fortunate, maybe they can't be in a position to gather around the holidays and spend time with friends and family. Hockey can be sort of that escape for you, so I can understand how the next little while may be difficult without that. If you're still here watching the video, you can kind of understand why I wasn't really looking forward to talking about this, but it is what's happening right now. It is important to gather the information that we have in front of us and to continue the discussion as well. So let me know what your guys' thoughts and opinions are down in the comment section below. Make sure that we are remaining civil and stuff like that. I know I'm usually pretty active in the comment section and replying and responding and making sure things don't get out of hand sometimes. Things, and I'm sorry. But that is going to be it for this video, and make sure to like the video if you did like it and subscribe for more, because more is always on the way. And now that we're not going to have any games or news for a little while, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not going to be around. Maybe I'll do some fun things with NHL 22. If you're interested in that, let me know down in the comment section below. If you're interested in knowing what's going on with the channel and sorts of stuff, might have something interesting to share in regards to an opportunity that I may have, but I also want to keep the hatch on that until I can fully share what that opportunity may be. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. It is big, it is exciting, but know that I will always be here on this channel, no matter what opportunities and no matter what comes and no matter what happens. This is something that we built. We built, me and you, the viewer. No matter how long you've been here, we've done this together, and I'm not going to forget that anytime soon. So, thank you all for watching, and I will see you again shortly.